Hi, everyone. I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out they're autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. I just want to share that I have dry mouth a lot, and I drink water all day long, but when I'm talking this much, it comes up more frequently, I guess. So I guess what I'm saying is does everybody listen to podcasts with headphones on? Because I don't. Because there's some people I listen to that have the dry mouth thing that I really don't like hearing in my ears because it grosses me out. I'm sure mine grosses some of you out. So I listen to it on my TV, out of my speaker, or a little Bluetooth speaker or something like that, so that I don't have to have that in my ears, just in case somebody didn't think of that. But anyways, so I'm going to talk about things that I wish I could forget because they're so fucking embarrassing. And I had heard somebody, I don't know, a month ago on a podcast say something like they still think about things that embarrassed them years and years ago. So I'm wondering, is this an autistic thing, or do I just think that everything is an autistic thing and nobody else matters? Is that what this sounds like? I mean, oh, there's the dry mouth. I heard that one. Yeah, but just I don't know, I don't know if it even matters, is this autism, is it not? But I do want to know this. And I think this is it because I've never met a neurotypical, I said it. Neurotypical person. I said it without stuttering. Sorry, for those of you who don't listen in order, I usually use the term ordinary people. So, yeah, but anyways, yeah, so do they think about stuff that embarrassed them from 10, 15, 20 years ago? I've never met one that has shared anything like that, and they sure like to talk about themselves, so, I don't know, but I thought that if I related to that, there's somebody out there that also is haunted by the shit that they did, maybe yesterday, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, and it just keeps replaying over and over and over. And for me, it's every other day, something pops into my head that was embarrassing. And I don't know how this happens. I don't know how to make it stop. It just pops into my head. And this has been this is just my life all the time. And it's not I dwell on them. They're brief little, oh, haha, remember when that happened? And then I'm no, I don't want to remember when that happened because it was embarrassing and horrifying and no. So why is this happening? This is so fucking annoying. But anyways, I'm going to say this shit out loud because, and I made a list so I wouldn't forget. These were all the things I could think of. And some of these don't sound like very big things, but they were to me. I guess they still are to me. So yeah, I'm just going to share them. And maybe if I say them out loud, they won't come into my mind as much. I don't know. But my wife doesn't even know these things. I'm looking at this list. Well, she knows some of these things. Anyways, let me just get started. So first, this was when I was 18. Yeah, I was 18. And I had graduated high school. I spent a year at home trying to figure out what to do, which is I ended up joining the military. But during that year, I took a couple of college classes, but they weren't at an actual college. It was on the military base. I don't know how to explain that, but they were college classes, and I took one, and I remember going in to pay for it ahead of time, and my mother gave me a checkbook, but I was never shown how to write a check. I didn't even think to ask her. She just handed this to me. I don't know if I thought that there was going to be a pre-made one in there for me to just sign. I don't know what I thought, but so when I go to pay for the class, I even remember like where I was sitting, what the lady's face looked like, because I wrote out the check, but like I wrote the things in the wrong order. Like on the top, I think I put like whatever the lines are that say paid to the order, and then you put like the actual numbers, like how much something costs. I mixed those two lines up, and I just remember the lady looking at me like, seriously? And that is like one of the first times that I remember being like so humiliated. And like it really isn't anything now. It's just a kid that like if some 18-year-old was like filling out a check and like I noticed that they did it the wrong way, I would just be like, hey, this goes there and this goes there. I wouldn't like give them a fucking look that makes them feel stupid. I was just so humiliated. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. But I think that was like one of the first times I was embarrassed in public in front of somebody else. So maybe like, yeah, I definitely was working on a mask by 18. Yep, because I worked on it in high school. So it had to be like, somebody figured out I couldn't do something. So this is embarrassing. And I was only 18, so I guess I didn't live a whole lot of life at 18, so that's what rated as the most embarrassing for me, I guess. Oops, water. Something else is our friends Janice and Nadine, like, I don't know, 5 or 6, 7 years ago. Probably like 7 years ago, because we had just moved in recently. They were going to like a Halloween party, and they were at Walmart picking out stupid costumes, and like these are like Janice is in her 70s, Nadine's in like her 50s, and like they're putting these stupid like masks on, and they look pretty hilarious. And they send me a picture, and I think it's so funny that, and this is when I had Facebook, I thought it was so funny that I should just share it with everybody on Facebook. And what the fuck? Why would I do that? I don't know why I would do that, because they sent it to my phone. They didn't share it on their Facebook. And I thought the whole world should see how hilarious this is, until I get like a text from Janice like an hour later, like saying, you know that was just for you guys, right? Like the pictures they sent. And I was sitting there like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I do that? Nobody said I could do that. And like, I don't know what I was thinking. Who does that? Who just like shares other people's shit? Well, apparently I did. That was the first and last time. What, like, I don't even know why I did that. But like that message from Janice was so embarrassing, and I was thinking to myself, oh my god, I feel like a little piece of shit. They were just trying to be nice and share something with us, and I went and I shared it with the whole world, and it wasn't meant to be public. It was meant to be private, and I fucked up. And how did this impact the relationship we have with them? And like, you know how the spiraling goes. So there's that. Don't worry, they get better. Next up is basic training, which is, I guess, what most people know as boot camp, but then the Air Force, we called it basic training. I don't know if it's still called that. But I remember, like, it's like in the middle of the night, it felt like. It was like nighttime. There's a bunch of us, like, kids on this bus. Like, kids, I'm saying, like, 18, 19. And they take us to this building where we do all the paperwork, and then they separate us up into, like, what rooms we're staying in, like, because you're with, like, 20 other people in this large room. And anyways, so we have our suitcases, and it's like a normal locker where, like, you have the lawn part where you open it, armoire, is that the right word to say? I guess that's another way to, like, put it. But, like, the long part is when where you hang the clothes, and then there's, like, little drawers underneath, where you put, like, things that you're folding. And so this one had the long part, and it just had one drawer at the bottom. And the drawer wasn't that big. And I thought it was a good idea to try to fit this huge luggage that I had, this huge piece of luggage, into this small fucking drawer. I remember doing it. And I remember thinking, like, why won't this fit? Why won't this fit? Why won't this fit? And then the drill instructor came up to me and she's like, are you fucking stupid? That's not gonna fit in there, you dumbass. Like, that was so humiliating. That's where my anxiety takes me. I just do things that I wouldn't normally do. And I remember, like, I know I was, like, super fucking anxious because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was with all these strangers. Somebody was yelling at me. And, like, I had expected this stuff because, like, I was raised in the military, so none of this is new. But it's still not fun when you're going through it. So my anxiety apparently made it seem like it was a good idea to put a ginormous piece of luggage into a small ass drawer. Like, who the fuck does that? That was so embarrassing. I can't get that out of my mind. That keeps repeating. And then while we're on the topic of basic training, for those who may not know, and like I said, I always say this, but like, I don't know if anything's changed. This is just when I was going through, like, 20 years ago now. Yeah, I joined 20 years ago. Oh, I feel so old. But when you wake up in the morning, you get like 10 minutes to like put your clothes on and like get downstairs and get in line in formation and do all that shit. Well, anyways, you do that, you do your exercising, and then you get like 10 minutes to eat. I think that's generous. I'm pretty sure it was like 5. Because I remember thinking, like, who the hell can eat like all this food in such a short amount of time? Like, so I just remember that, like, because some days they would put desserts out and some days they wouldn't. And you could only have one dessert. And I took 2 one day. I didn't think anybody was looking. Like, I went back to refill some drink, and I remember, like, oh, there's another one I can get. Nobody will know that I already ate the first one. And apparently somebody did. They fucking saw. And they ratted me out and said that it was a chocolate cream pie. And they told the drill instructor for our section that I had 2 chocolate cream pies. So I didn't know that this person ratted me out. Like, the drill instructor also threw that person under the bus and said, like, you don't rat people out like that for stupid shit. So that person kind of got laughed at. But I had to stand in front of everybody, and there's like 20 people in my section, and we're like up in our dorm area, and he's got me at attention, and he's like, you don't get to take extra food. Nobody gets to take extra food. Do you think you're special? And then he made everybody stand up at attention in front of their beds, and I had to go in front of every woman and be like, I had to like, you go and you walk and you stand at attention, and I had to stare straight ahead and say, I'm sorry, I stole an extra chocolate cream pie. That was wrong. And I had to do that like 20 fucking times down the line. I will never forget that. It definitely wasn't worth the extra dessert. I don't think I had dessert anymore after that because I was too afraid, but that was embarrassing. And also, why did I think it was a good idea to take another dessert? Like, I mean, I was 19, so I guess that's what I'm going with. I was 19. But that was pretty embarrassing. And so, let's see. One time this was when I was in the military. Maybe I was like 21, 22, and I was invited to a baby shower, and I did not want to go. I never want to go to baby showers, but like I went because it was somebody from work and I didn't want to be rude. And so they invited me to their stupid baby shower, and I didn't know what to bring, and I didn't know who to ask. So I remember thinking like diapers is always a good thing to go with. Like, babies need diapers. And I've seen other people get diapers at baby showers, haven't I? Like, I wasn't sure. So I spent like $100 on fucking diapers. And I remember thinking like, oh, I'm so generous. they're going to think like, oh, wow, this person's so cool. Like, I was in my early 20s. What can I say? And so, like, and plus I didn't want to be like, I didn't know how many to bring. Should I just bring one package? Should I bring like 10? I had no concept of that. So come time for the baby shower and my bag gets opened and I didn't buy diapers. I bought Depends. I bought fucking Depends for baby. And I just remember the lady's look like horror. It was like horror. She was pulling a bag package, whatever. She was pulling the Depends out of the bag and she had a look of horror because I know she was like embarrassed. And then imagine the look on my face when I realized those aren't baby diapers. I didn't know what Depends were until I heard somebody mention, like, those are for old people. And I was thinking, like, what? And so I was the girl that brought the Depends to the baby shower for a few years after that, until I got out of the military. That was embarrassing. You know, like, it's just, I have a fuzzy memory about so much in my life, but like when there's specific emotions attached to an experience, I will never ever forget that experience, whether that emotion is like embarrassment or joy or whatever. Hold on, water. Oops. Spilled some again. So yeah. So don't bring Depends to a baby shower. And I never went to any baby showers after that because I was like, fuck that. I'm not accidentally bringing like some other old person item. No offense to old people. I don't mean to be rude. That's rude. No offense to people who wear Depends. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just like, I know now not to bring that to a baby shower. Moving right along. Let's go back in time to 6th grade. This is when we had just moved to Hawaii. And this was like the year before I went to the Catholic school for junior high. So I was in 6th grade. It was a public school. It wasn't dangerous or anything like that, like the high school was. And there were like a couple things I remember. One of them, I remember sitting at my desk and the teacher was like teaching us something. And she kept looking at me and I didn't know why, but like every time she looked at me, I looked away. Like this went on for a while, like, and now that I think back, like she kept looking at me probably because she was trying to figure out what the fuck I was doing. Like, was I having a seizure or something? I don't know, because every time she looked at me, I looked away. Every time. It was just that one day I did it, so I don't know why I did that. But I realized at some point this isn't normal what I just did. So I don't know if like maybe somebody had mentioned something to me about eye contact, like maybe I don't make enough. I don't know why I decided to do that, but I did. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if I thought I was supposed to look away when somebody looked at me or if it was just a sensory overload or something, but that's what I did. And that was, I will never forget that. It was because I remember the look on her face. It's, like, what's this kid fucking doing is probably what she was thinking. Like, what the hell? I got another weirdo in here. And then while we're in 6th grade, that's when I had my first boyfriend. And you want to know where my first kiss was? It was in a porta potty, like 5 minutes down from where I lived. And he lived next door to me. So we were walking home from school one day and there was like some construction stuff going on, but like they were closed down for the rest of the day, I remember, because there was no workers. And we decided it was a good idea to go into this disgusting porta potty to have our first kiss. And it was my first kiss ever in a fucking porta potty. So that's what I get to remember for the rest of my life, was it happened in a porta potty. What the fuck was wrong with me? I mean, a lot of this stuff is funny now, but it's not funny every time it enters my head. Let's go a little bit further back in time to when I was like, maybe, I don't know how old exactly I was. I was between the ages of 8 and 10, I believe. And my parents were friends with another military family. And that family had 2 boys. They were like, maybe ages like 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. They were pretty young. And so we went over one Saturday for several hours. And I don't know why the mother of those boys thought it was a good idea to give them a bath while we were there. Like, I don't know if we were there too long. I just thought that was a weird thing to do. Like, don't you want to wait until we leave before you give your kids a bath? But so that was a thought that I had. But here's like another thought I had, like, oh, I'd like to have a bath too. That I really had that thought. And so I asked, like, can I go have a bath with them? Because I didn't know boundaries. I didn't know that was inappropriate at that age. Like, you would have thought that my parents would have fucking said some shit before then. Like, this is what you do and don't do. But no, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't understand what the problem was when those boys' mother looked at me like, what? Because I was clearly at least twice their age, and you just don't do that. But I didn't know. I was just a little kid. And when we got home, my mom was like, what's wrong with you? You don't have like baths naked with like boys like that. And I was like, what? Well, why didn't you say something like this before? How was I supposed to know? Like, now, obviously I know, like, not appropriate, but I was like 8, 9, 10. Like, I don't know. I wasn't informed that this wasn't something that you're supposed to do. So that was so humiliating, because then I thought to myself, like, oh my God, I was trying to take a bath with like 2 little boys. That's going to make me look like a creep. Like, people are going to think I'm fucking weirder than I already am. So that happened. Can't get that out of my head. I remember standing, like, all of these things I'm describing, I remember details, and like, I forget a bunch of shit, but like, I remember the details of these incidents. I remember what that bathroom looked like. I remember standing at the doorway. I remember where the mother was when she looked at me like I was weird. I wish I didn't remember those things. Another time, this is after I got out of the military, and I lived in an apartment where you could have pets, so I got 2 cats, and one of them had, like, I woke up one day and, like, the fur on, like, half her lip was gone. Like, it was singed off or something. I don't know. I was worried. I was like, what the fuck happened? So I brought her to the vet, and the vet couldn't figure it out, so she went with, well, she must be allergic to whatever snacks you're giving her. And I said no, because I've been giving her the same stuff for so long. She's never exhibited any allergic reaction. She never looked like this before, so it's not those. And the lady disagreed with me, and I was like, it's not the snacks. And she's like, well, you know, you don't need to give snacks to cats for them to love you. And I remember being humiliated by that, but also feeling like, you fucking bitch. I do not give my cats snacks for them to love me. Like, are you serious? I give it to them because imagine eating the same food all day, every day, the same dry shit. All the fucking time. That's all you get is the same shit. Wouldn't you want something different now and again in the form of a tasty dessert? Like, come on. This is all stuff I was thinking. But I just remember, like, this bitch really thinks I'm that stupid that I think I need to get my cat to love me by giving her snacks. And that's why she's got, like, half her fur missing on her lip. Turns out I figured out what it was, because later that day I had, like, a little wire attached to like an alarm clock, and like she was still like kind of a kitten, not a kitten. She was like, what, 3 or 4 maybe at that age, or at that time, maybe 2, I don't know. She wasn't like old, but she wasn't a kitten, and she had chewed through, I know it was her because she had to have gotten like a little shock or something, and the little wire was chewed through. So I just came to the conclusion that She chewed through it and somehow got, I don't know, electrocuted, or zapped by the wire or what. And maybe like her hair fell off, or like she was like itching at it. I don't know, but that was the conclusion I came to. And I still gave her the same snacks, and she never had that reaction again. The hair grew back. Everything was fine. Oops, dry mouth. But you bet your ass I switched to a different vet. Stupid fucker. Like, that's what your conclusion was? Your conclusion is that it was the snacks. Stupid. And then... should I say this one? Okay, so for anybody out there that is like, gets really offended by stuff, maybe you should just stop listening. I don't know how to describe this. It's not like something that like I just told my wife this a week ago. She hadn't known until a week ago. Sorry, words are having a hard time now because I'm feeling a little anxious, but I'm just going to share it. So if you get really, really offended, click off. Just stop listening. Okay. So this last really embarrassing thing is, this was another thing that, this was like right after I got out of the military, and I was a civilian for the first time in my life because I was born into the military. That's all I ever knew. So I had my first civilian doctor, and this was like maybe a year after I got out of the military. And like when you're in the military, they make appointments for you. Like they tell you when your physicals are, when your dentist appointments are. You don't get to decide. You don't get to pick morning or afternoon. They don't care if you're a shift worker. You go when you're supposed to go. So I had 5 years of that when I got out of the military. And so I was like, okay, it's time for a physical. So I scheduled one with a doctor that was prior military. So I was like, oh, this is cool. And I had seen him for a few times. And then, because he was just a GP, so he did everything. And so I remember having I went in for a pap smear the one time. And, God, this is so embarrassing. But, so he brought in like 2 women, because you have to have somebody there no matter if you're, well, you guys know how it goes. So he brought 2 people in. I remember one was in training and the other one was the one to observe and hand him stuff. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, do you guys like my haircut? And they looked at me and they're like, your hair? And I pointed down there and I said, yeah, do you guys like my haircut? Oh God. It was so humiliating because they just exchanged this very obvious, like, what the fuck glance. And the new girl was like horrified. Her eyes were buggy and her mouth dropped open. And I was like, oh, I guess that wasn't appropriate to say. What the fuck? That's so embarrassing. Who says that? I was at that age, I was like, what, 25? Yeah, I think I was just 25. So like my excuse is I was in my mid-20s. I didn't know. But at the same time, I was an adult. Why did I say that? Why? Who the fuck does that? Like, this is the one that I cannot stop wishing it never happened. And like all these things, nobody's thinking about me. Nobody remembers these things except maybe this last one. Oops, more water. Like, I am probably some Thanksgiving story that guy tells, like how this one time I was given this pap smear and this chick was like, you like my haircut down there? Like, what the fuck? That is so humiliating. Don't ever do that. If you're in your 20s listening to this, or you're any age, don't ever fucking do that. Who does that? I'm so embarrassed. That is so humiliating. And I shared it and it's out in the world and now everybody knows. And I don't think I'll stop thinking about it, but hopefully I will now that I said it out loud. That's the one thing that like every other day I'm like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Why did I do that? And like, that was so long ago. That was like, what, 15 years ago almost? So that's all the stuff I can think of that I wish I could forget. These are the things that just are on a fucking loop. And I don't know why my autistic brain can't get off the fucking train. Like, I don't want to keep reliving these experiences. They just keep popping into my head. I don't know what to do about that. Does anybody know what to do about that? Well, my therapist doesn't seem to know what to do about that. You know, like, yeah, when I have the thought, I can rationalize it. Like, I know, but I don't want to ever have the thoughts anymore. Like, I want them to go away. Or at least get reduced to like once a month and not every other day. Sometimes just every day. I just don't understand why my brain does this to me. It's like, hey, you're having a good day. Remember that time you asked them if they liked your haircut down there? Okay, I'm gonna go now. So if there's anybody still listening, thanks. Hopefully, like, if you have stories like this, you don't feel so bad about them. So that's kind of my goal, is for somebody to have had something as embarrassing happen to them and think to themselves, oh my God, it's not just me, and it's not just me that thinks about this on a regular basis. So this was just me recording to an app on my phone, hoping people find me, listen, relate, hopefully have a similar experience to the one I had when I heard myself on somebody else's podcast. Thank you for listening. Oh man, goodbye.